Good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Priya Nagraj. I'm the CEO of Pune Knowledge Cluster. Welcome to this session with Dr. Vanita Prasad as part of our Women in Role Model in STEM series. We do this once a month as Pune Knowledge Cluster, and we are thankful to the Vigyan program as well as support from BASF Chemicals for the Vigyan program, which is a scholarship and mentoring program for deserving girls to pursue research in the areas of chemistry and sustainability. As part of this series, our intent is to bring forward the journey of women from various fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, which includes entrepreneurs, scientists, industry professionals, etc. And to conduct this series in an informal conversational format, which lets the audience relate to the lives of these women, and to frankly talk about their challenges, their ups and downs, and also how they have navigated their journeys as various career professionals to achieve what they wanted to do in life. The series also helps to hopefully break gender stereotypes, societal barriers, and encourage women to pursue careers in STEM. It is a pleasure to welcome Dr. Vanita Prasad, who is the founder, director, and CTO of REVY Environmental Solutions Private Limited, which is a startup. And Dr. Prasad is an environmental biotechnologist with more than 20 years of experience, having graduated in science from the University of Delhi and a master's and PhD degree in biotechnology. She also has a long career had a long career with industries as a consultant scientist while heading R&D functions of various wastewater management companies. She holds patents for specific innovations in the field of waste management and renewable energy. And REVY was started because of three reasons, according to her: her unending urge to learn, to provide society with an effective waste management scheme to fulfill the mission of Swachh Bharat, and her belief that innovation in business is made not by chance, but through constant research. Personally, I've known Vanita for over 5 years now. I've watched her journey, at least in this last 5 years that I've known her, and I can say that she's one of the most determined and very, very focused entrepreneurs that I know of. And also, I think not having too many women models in the space that she works in, which is in the space of waste management and renewable energy. I think her startup does something very unique, and it's one of the very few women-led startups in this space in the country today. With that, I welcome Dr. Vanita, and over to you.
Thanks, Priya. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So should I share the screen?
Yes, please.
You could able to see now?
Yes, ma'am.
In the full screen mode? Yeah.
Yeah, now we can. Yeah.
Can you see the next slide now? Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So as I was mentioning that I was born in a family where the girls' education was not orthodox family, where girls' education was not a priority at all. And I really have to figure out that how I will be doing my higher studies. And that's the biggest challenge, even born in a house where your education is not that much priority. You have to figure out a lot of ways. And my father told me that you have to get a scholarship from class 5th onwards, that you have to get a scholarship to get going. So that was the biggest task for a very small girl to really accomplish, that if she wants to continue, she has to work on getting some scholarships, and some good work has to be done. So I have to be always on to the toes to prove myself that I really want to go to next class and next class and complete my studies. And that was the biggest part, and that's what I wanted to share with all the girls, which I feel that are now very fortunate that the society has moved from that era to this era where we really want to educate our daughters. So how this journey started and what has given me an motivation to work on science was that at a very young age, I was having a very severe headaches, which could not be able to determine by the doctors, and doctor referred to me for a CAT scan. And that was back in 1977. And the first CAT scan machine came in AIIMS. and we got a appointment, and I have to go to this machine, inside this machine. So I was very curious that how this machine can tell a lot of things about why my headache is there and what is happening and how this can be. And I asked so many questions to my father. And my father told me that these answers will be available with your teacher. So you have to go to your science teacher. And then my science teacher and my doctor uncle guided me that you have to very study hard if you really want to understand how this machine and how the human body functions. So you have to become a doctor. And I belong to a Punjabi family, with a business family, where nobody was a science student at all. So I am the only science student till date, or only one of my the next generation kids have come to science, but in my generation there was no science student, and not in the earlier generation also. So it was very difficult task for me to accomplish, but I worked hard. I done my level best, but I could not able to get into the medical college, because my grandma has given this criteria that you have to crack, you have to study only in Delhi, and there were only 2 colleges in Delhi, Lady Hardinge and Mullah Azad. I could not able to get into that seat. 425 was the cutout, and I had 428. So I felt shattered again, and I was not able to figure out how to work. And then Papa again motivated me motivated me by saying that I saw your hardship. You have done so many things. You just figure out what else you can do. So at that point of time, when I was again reinvestigating that what I can do, I figured out that biotechnology is one of the things which can bring me to the goal I has, the curiosity I have, can fulfill my those things. So I started working towards that side, and I have done my graduation, which with analytical methods in chemistry and biochemistry, and then moved to the biotechnology MSc, clearing the JNU entrance. And at that time, I was again the first one to first batch student of Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya for biotechnology. After finishing, as you all have got, that I was much into human system. I wanted to understand a lot of human system, and I was really fascinated by the immunology, and I was working towards the developing an allergy kit, because one of our my colleague, who is my mentor also now, right now, has a very unique allergy with red chili. So that has given me this thought process that I wanted to work on this field for my PhD. And I as my papa motivated me, I could able to clear all the exams after that. Whatever I have written, I have cleared, because I think worked hard for the medical entrance. But whatever I could able to do, it can be a GATE, CSIR, all the exams I could able to crack it. And so, being a JRF fellow, I started working on the allergy kit, and I went to to start this project. I collected the blood sample from Patel chest, as well as from this communicable diseases, National Communicable Disease Institute. So when I went back to collect the samples from the patients who I found allergic to these spices on which I was working. So when I went there and I saw the conditions, because at that point of time, since I had this permission only to go to college and come back, I was not that much exposed to the real world, I will say. So when I saw these people living in the pathetic conditions, because they mostly belongs to the slum area, the people who are having the tuberculosis. So they are staying in an unsanitized, means unhygienic conditions, which I could not able to take on, and I could not able to sleep at home. I had sleepless nights during that time. And then I again asked the question, should I work on this particular thing where the very small percentage people are suffering with this kind of allergy, while in India, the people are just dying because of diarrhea. And still that is the case. And that gives me goosebumps still now, that I can't stop people or the children's dying by diarrhea. So that's how that my inner calling came to me, that I really want to work on this field. And then when I have to switch on to my PhD thesis topic, I really have to investigate what and exactly I wanted to do. So on one side, this sanitation was there, and on other side was the energy crisis, which generally a developing country is having. So at that point, Fatak sir was working a lot onto bio toilets or Sulabh Shauchalaya. So keeping all these factors in mind, I researched, I figured out that I wanted to work on biohydrogen production, which is the future fuel. At that point of time, nobody was talking about hydrogen economy. It is way back in 94, 93 ending or 94 starting. So that's where I started working with this particular aspect, that is managing waste and converting it to biohydrogen. So I could successfully able to do this patent. The whole work was patented. I could able to improve the anaerobic process, that is methanogenesis process, using these hydrogen producers, and the work was got patented. But then again, the life has a turning point. I got married, as most of us has to face in our society. So the norms changed, and I have a lot of societal this thing responsibilities to fulfill. I experienced motherhood, and now I wanted to do. Could not able to figure out it, because at that point of time nobody was ready to talk about hydrogen, even in the waste sector. So I was like figuring out what to do. And I found that lecturership can give me a work-life balance. So I started doing a lecturership, but that was not my actual inner calling. I could not able to sustain myself onto this particular thing. So I moved on to, and I took a R&D head position of a environment consultancy company, wherein we have to do a lot of wastewater treatment. Till now, I was working with the solid waste, but here I have to work with the wastewater. And I learned a lot of issues which wastewater industry is facing into the treatment side. We know that we are polluting a lot of water bodies, but I have seen both the things, that we are polluting, but there are no such solution. Where should we store this effluent which is generated by the industry every day? That was the challenge the industry is also facing. So they are looking for some of the technologies by which they can treat. So that's where again we were working, and I was trying a lot. And my company used to say that we can provide tailor-made cultures for hard effluents. And that's how the research aspect of my work was further refined. And then doing all these also, I could not able to actually make a bump in the industry. Still, we are focused as in companies. We generally give the technology called aerobic technology, which uses a lot of oxygen. And that's the main reason why I took resigned from my job and took this entrepreneurship as a challenge, because I really wanted that what I want know should be a service, and people should use this technology, which is anaerobic technology, as a main treatment technology, rather than using the aeration, because wastewater industry still uses aeration. And I'm happy to share with all of you that with the efforts which we have put in last 5 years, we could able to convert a lot of companies to this technology. And still a lot of big giant company are working with us on their sustainability goal with this technology, because this is a future technology for saving the carbon emissions. So that's how I really get motivated with this particular thing, because doing everything what I was doing, still an environment was deteriorating, and there was a lot of health elements, and in between the COVID also hit. So you know how important is the environment, or the things which is around us. That is very, very important. So that's how I started the entrepreneurship. And as I was mentioning, people were saying me at this point of time, you are committing a suicide. Why you are doing this at this age? And then I again asked myself that, is there a specific age wherein we can start an entrepreneurship And then again, I saw these examples that there are people like this who can start the entrepreneurship as young as these guys, these two boys, if you know, and as old as this person. We love to eat KFC, everybody. And he has started this particular venture at this age. So why can't I? So that's how this is what I could able to step up, that I will do, and I will move forward. So that this is the quote which I tell myself, that it is never too late. What you might have been, you have to do the work. And more important to take this step was, there was a conducive environment which has been created at that particular time in India. And that's the Startup India time. And I have this very good ecosystem, as I was mentioning. I get us hand holding with the very good mentors who has mentored my idea to a business concept. I was having a research idea, but not a business idea. But the people around me, the director in exactly in my company, who was to whom I was reporting, he is no more. We lost him during the COVID. He was the one of the person who told me that whatever you can do can become a business case later, but you have to do and start working on that. And that's where the Venture Center Pune and STBI has played the main important role to really give me the platform to work on. STBI has given me an incubation space, and BIRAC has given me the big grant, and the Venture Center was the big partner for me. And then we refined the project, and we started our concept as a scientist. And till here, I was working as a woman scientist who has got a grant to prove her idea as a business case. So what I was knowing was basically these microbes, the microbes working in an anaerobic condition. What I had back in my mind, or I had a skill, is that I knew that how these microorganisms work, and I have to see that how best I can utilize them as a consortia to provide a greener earth, or to make this technology a user-friendly technology. And that's how I started working on this particular strain. And the one more bigger challenge for me was the cost of producing these cultures. There are numbers of microbial strains available, but putting them together and having a product which is cost effective for these wastewater or waste treatment utilities is very, very challenging task for me. And that's what I have to, and I got this very small lab with all the funds which I had and all the ecosystem. I started working on it, and successfully, as you can see, I could able to produce biogas and the culture in these 10-liter reactors with a big grant. And that's how I could able to file a patent. Now we have this granted patent across globe. But at that point of time, I just completed this particular production of this product. And while producing this product and testing it with the customers, we could able to see that we could actually treat or actually run these non-functional plants also. There are a lot of wastewater treatment plant or waste treatment plant around in India, which are not working optimally. And there are many to come. So in both the cases, we could able to work with them. And this is the one of the slide. I think Priya has worked a lot with me on this slide, if Priya remembers this. So as I was mentioning that right now, mostly we treat our waste by aerobic technology, and how this technology or our technology can be useful. That is where we have to figure out as a commercial thing. So herein we worked a lot, because I knew that we are spending a lot of energy to treat wastewater by supplying oxygen, and then we are again disposing a lot of sludge which is generated. And you can see that with using this technology, we can reduce both of these things. And as compared to the conventional anaerobic technology, which was out there with the cow dung as the main inoculum, the differences are still there. And that's where I could able to really do the main difference. And this particular slide shows us Our competitors, I have done a lot, this all studies during the big project, and I could able to do all these studies, and I could figure it out that how our products can be more useful for these biogas plants or the waste treatment plants producing biogas. And we can able to isolate. I have done these isolations during my tenure with the companies where I was working with a lot of effluent. I could able to isolate a lot of microorganisms from there. So the main selling points for us will be the significant cost saving. This water is which we treat by this technology is fit for irrigation. Directly you can use it for irrigation. If an industry is using, they can use it in their green fields itself, and then they are reducing their water footprint also. So and at the same time they will be producing the bioenergy, and this particular product is India's first product, but in international market we do have granulated sludge, but the cost of transporting it is very high, and there are the imports are highly regulated. So how this is beneficial for the society, any water can be passed through these granules which we have created, and then we can get a treated water as well as the gas. And then after doing the big grants, and as I moved in further in the journey, and we scaled up the production, and when we were talking to the clients, we found that there are n number of other parameters by which these microorganisms get again I will not say killed, but they are underperforming again. So because these people doesn't know how to use this. So what we have created is one more thing is the health tonics for these products. So how to dose these health tonics is dependent on what we are feeding. We all know as microbiologists that there are macro and micronutrients which are required for these living organisms or the single cells to live. So, but what to give and how to give, when to give, nobody knows. So now what I say is that I am doctor of microbe. I understand the stress by the help of this app, which I have developed later on during the COVID time to help the waste utility system. So that's how from a biotechnologist to this app building was a tough journey again, but I really have to figure out that how I can able to really solve the issue and make this technology more user friendly. Roadblocks I faced during the journey of entrepreneurship is incubation space itself. I got the big grant, but my lab was not ready. Means the incubator was itself not ready. So I have to hold the incubation. Main task that I could not able to get that space. Then still hiring and maintaining the team is a challenge. There were a lot of equipment breakdown. There was a challenge of outsourcing work. My big tranche was held because the outsourced work which we have planned has not come on time. There was every time there is a deadline. Today itself I had a deadline for an form to be submitted, or the reports have to submitted, and that's where I was working. So all the time you have to be on your toes since you are a small startup team and you have to do a lot of works. So these are the challenges, and but we have to cross these roadblocks, whatever is coming in our way. So in spite of these hurdles, that's what I was mentioning, all has happened in 2016 itself. My grant was not released because the lab was not ready, and finishing it till now, we could able to get the second grant also to demonstrate the scaling up of these particular product under Spurge. And again, BIRAC and Venture Center has helped me to get this grant. And then we have scaled up and done the validations with the customers, and then we have developed the app. So we now have reached to a stage where we are saying that we are at TRL at 8 or 9, because still we could not able to commercialize our product. We are still looking for the funding for setting up a full mother plant for commercialization. So that are the challenges still I have to face, but these are all recognitions which has boosted my enthusiasm at every stage. The first award which I got as Indo-Israel Innovation Challenge Award has given me the confidence to start the company, because as I mentioned at the grant, I was working as a scientist only. And at the end of that, I have to start the project. And at that point of time, I got this Indo-Israel Innovation Challenge, where they are looking for the low-cost wastewater treatment technology. And we are the runner-up for that particular challenge. So that has given me that if Israel is saying that I am doing something which is really required and I can be a business case, and that's how we started and registered our company at that point of time. And the most important award which I get now is this best anaerobic digestion company, which is doing an O&M. So as I mentioned, we have revived with our cultures and our products a lot of non-functional or underperforming plants. So that's how we have got these awards, and there were a lot of media recognition. We have been broadcasted at various national levels. The Startup Champion 2 has given us quite a bit of coverage. So these are all, I will say, the rockets on which my dreams are going to their achieving the path, actually. And I'm very happy to share this, that now we have moved out of the incubator, which is here you can see as a very small lab, to an R&D lab of a facility of our own, which is a 4-floor building having a wet lab, a microbiology, and this whole building and the pilot facility belongs to REVY now. And we have progressed in this 5 years to this stage. And this, which is giving us a confidence, but we are still struggling to get a scale up of this particular production facility. We have LOIs with us from various customers, but still we could not able to crack the funding. So yeah, we have our plans that we wanted at this point of time, since we wanted to scale this up. We are trying to get talking with bigger giants in the company, in the industry, to scale up our production and actually take this product not only national pan-India, but internationally also. So we are at this point of time, we are talking to a lot of peoples and for collaborations and partnerships, and hopefully we will able to take this product across globe very soon. And then, as I mentioned, my inner calling was always hydrogen. So I could able to do this much in the last 2 years. I could able to do this demonstration, and I am very lucky to have a team. I had co-founders with me when I started the company. My husband and the co-founder of the company looks after to the business development, and an angel investor who joined me very early in the big grant. He also joined the company as co-founder. So he looks after the finance. So these both these guys are looking after to the commercialization of the main product, and I am working again onto the development of the new product, as I mentioned to you. So I have started working on to the hydrogen production again. So the work which I had done long back, 20 years back, the patent was almost 20 years back, I have done those work. So I have started re-innovating, and then I figured out that if hydrogen production has to come, and as you all know, that hydrogen mission has been announced by the PM. So what I can do is, so I started working on to the biphasic biohydrogen production route, which is dark fermentation followed by photo fermentation, and dark fermentation followed by methanogenesis, which I have done earlier itself. So that's the work I started again. And this was my long-term goal, wherein I wanted to use this particular waste we have in hand in an integrated way. And right now I am trying to work, all of us now are right now talking about biorefinery concept. So something like that, we are working on this and trying to make this effluents and waste material, which is available in India, which we call as waste. According to me, nothing is waste. It's just a thing placed at a wrong time, at a wrong place. We have to find the best way to use it. And as our population will grow, we are number one on that. And we need to use this all organic waste in such a way that we will be energy surplus. And as Niti Aayog has said, we could be able to supply the energy to if we could able to use these waste material using this anaerobic digestion technology. We can do a lot of things on this basis. And my advice to the young people who are listening to me is that you must be having something in your mind. You have to be very specific. You have to understand what exactly your inner calling is. And you really have to understand in details. There are this ecosystem, and the big grant is a very good initiative for the people to really take their dreams to a level in science and technology field. So for being a woman or the girls, we can utilize this particular platform which has been created, and this has a list of all the information we want. So I can say that you have to have belief in your dreams. You have to believe your what do you say, inner calling or the inner instinct, and then you can trust your intuition. Once you take a step, there are surrounding ecosystem which will help you, but you have to take that one step. That is, you have to go ahead with that particular step. What happened? It's not changing. Yeah. So you can enjoy the ride, which is the entrepreneurship, or I will say whatever we are doing is life itself is a ride of a dream world. Sometimes we had days where we are at our high, and sometimes we are at a very low. So we have to enjoy this ride of our life as well as our dreams. But do not give up. The beginning is always the hardest. That's what I wanted to say to all of you. And I'm really committed to gift these people or are my fellow human beings there tomorrow, because everybody needs water, and water is very precious. So thank you all for your patience listening.
Thank you, Vanita. That was very inspiring and also very informative. Before we take questions or continue, there are two things that I would like to mention. One is Vanita spoke a lot about a big grant. I know there are many people here. Many of you are budding entrepreneurs. Some of you are contemplating whether you should convert your idea into something that has commercial potential. I think it's important for you to know that there is a lot of support available for people like you who want to test out your ideas, which are at a very, very raw or very initial stage. And that is where grants like the BIG or the Biotechnology Ignition Grant comes in. It supports up to 50 lakhs worth of prototyping funds for you to actually test out your ideas. It's in fact one of India's, I would say, most effective entrepreneurial grants, which has really resulted in a huge number of entrepreneurs working on deep tech or technology-based ideas. Please feel free to go look it up. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to take questions regarding that. Although PKC is not an incubation center, but we will be happy to take any questions related to grants that are related to startups. And many of them, I think.
No, I think I have not mentioned Nidhi Prayas. Nidhi Prayas is also one of the best thing, even for the MSc students who are working on their dissertation, to really take their idea ahead.
So most of these grants are given by the Department of Science and Technology or given by DBT or BIRAC. So you can look up their sites, and they really offer a lot of, sort of very early stage entrepreneurial opportunities to sort of test out your ideas when nobody else is willing to come and give you the money to be able to do that. Maybe I'll start with the question in the chat box where Pooja has a question which says, may I know the microbes selected were natural or modified in biotechnology lab by you for the required efficiency?
So it is not, all the microbes are natural isolates. GM are very hard to introduce into the environment and into the wastewater field. The cost of GM will be very high, and the implications we don't know. So putting it into the environment was very difficult. So there is no GM microbe in my cultures. It's totally natural isolates.
I hope that answers your question, Pooja. We'll, of course, open the floor for questions where you all can verbally ask your questions in a while. But Vanita, it'll be nice if you can. I know you had a slide, you briefly touched upon it, that you were a scientist for a very long time before you, sort of decided to take the leap and become an entrepreneur. What has been for you the major differences in being a scientist and being an entrepreneur? Like, what is it that differentiates both these streams of work?
It's a very different mindset together. You really think very differently into two aspects. When you are thinking on an R&D project, you are not never ever and we are very lucky to have this R&D ecosystem we have in India, wherein we are having a lot of projects funding available. And we have never thought of that, what is the cost and how that will be given to the market. So when I was writing the big grant, there and then that mindset has to come, that how this will be really applicable to solve the societal problem. And that's the major difference between a scientist and an entrepreneur, I will say, because you need not to be a scientist to become an entrepreneur, correct? But being a scientist and converting to be an entrepreneur can be really a game changing, and that's where the technology based businesses will be having a long-term impacts.
What challenges did you see in converting that scientific idea into something that is commercially viable? Because you mentioned that, this has to solve a problem. At the same time, you have to be able to sell, you have to be able to make money to sustain your business. So
yeah, and that's where the scientist never thinks about the customer. The word customer was never in our mind when we are thinking as scientists.
Yeah.
Correct? There is a problem, we are finding a solution, but we never think of a very crucial thing, customer, who will pay. This was the one of the things which is lacking when we are thinking as a scientist. And when we are thinking as an entrepreneur, we mostly first question that who will be paying? Who will be the customer? What we are solving for this particular person? Who will be paying us? So that was the main difference I could able to figure out, that when I have spoken to a lot of people and when I was going through the journey of a lot of people, the Reliance founder itself. So I was just figuring out because I was working and started working as an R&D head with Reliance only, and Reliance is the one of the main thing from where I have started the entrepreneur journey also. So I was always connected to Reliance somehow. So when I was figuring out his journey also, so I figured out that he wanted to earn, he wanted to make money, he wanted to make people happy with money. So how he has discovered and taken help of the ecosystem surrounding it, and that's how we can also do that. But it's a very different mindset, and that's, I think, a main challenge for a scientist to become an entrepreneur. But it's a good journey. It's a very nice journey, and I think if the young minds will start their research at that aspect, and when I was thinking of Silicon Valley, then what is the main reason that there are a lot of spin-outs in those countries, and that's why their economy is growing up. So, and that's the main reason. And when I see around, a lot of dissertations I will found for the wastewater treatment, but nothing is coming actually into the market. And that was the challenge. And as an R&D head, I licensed Biohydrogen Technology from Netherlands to solve our wastewater issues.
Yeah.
So that has motivated me that these all things we are doing in our lab, but we are not taking it to the market.
So tell me if this is true or not, but a lot of the wastewater that is generated also comes under the purview of our local governments. In the sense, there are, they in some way have control over what happens to that water, whether it gets treated or not. How much of your work involves working with those kinds of stakeholders, and what challenges have you seen as a startup working with your local government stakeholders?
That is a very hard shell or hard nut, which I have to still crack. But as the big grantee, if you remember, my main focus was the sewage, because 70% of our sewage was not treated. So I have demonstrated it on the lab scale, and I worked with the VMC at that time itself. But really working with them is a tough task. And I am figuring out the ways to really work with them. And one of the way which I could able to figure out is this Amrit challenge. We are the winner of that, and this challenge has mapped us to the municipality, and now we are working with Vadodara municipality to demonstrate our work, that how this water can be treated. And we are trying to figure out improving the sewage treatment plants based on aerobic digestion technology. But the hurdle is that I cannot supply the volumes which is required by the STPs. They are huge.
Yeah.
The reactors are very huge, and I don't have that much production facility. So I'm looking forward to join those dots.
Right.
Maybe with the help of one of the municipality, or somehow maybe very soon we will able to do that also. So yeah, the sewage is the main thing. And when I went to Israel after getting this innovation, and I was very much motivated by them, because they don't waste their single drop of sewage. They use it whole for their agriculture purpose. Yeah. And that's where we are figuring it out. And I am happy to say that in last 5 years, Gujarat have made a policy wherein we are using the treated wastewater in industry, but it is very costly because we have to come to the potable water norms. After anaerobic technology also, we have to treat it further to get into this norms. But for agriculture, there are n numbers of other things which government is trying to figure out. We will be having soon those things out. Yeah.
Okay. So we have a technical question, which is how much time is required for one cycle of biogas production, and which type of waste is used in biogas production, and how does it differ from waste commonly collected?
So this question means that our microbes can use any organic material, and that's the biggest achievement I could able to say, that when I was started working, I was focused on to the organic effluent or the sewage. But that also contains the same thing. And when I tried with all the waste materials in last 3 years, I have done from agriculture waste to organic fraction, all the plants we have regenerated. So anything which is containing an organic fraction, organic BOD, can be treated. So we are working with the industry which are having specific BOD with the specific kind of substrate. Those we cannot treat, and we are working with those companies to get specific cultures for them. Like for Aditya Birla Group, we are working with the sulfate reduction, that is an inorganic COD, which we are working with. The dye, we are working with their complex molecules, which needs to be treated. So yeah, for those, this particular consortia, which we call as REVY, is not suitable. But for any organic material, be it agriculture, organic fraction, kitchen waste, anything else, sugar waste, press mud, anything can be treated. And the HRT, which they asked, HRT will depend on the type of the reactor and not onto the cultures. But cultures can always able to improve. If you are commissioning with these kinds of reactor, it will always give you 10 to 20% improvement in HRT. But depending on the reactors, it will be HRT is a function of the reactors and not with the cultures alone.
So, Vanita, you mentioned about your work in hydrogen, and I think this is a lot of foresight, because when you started working on this, I don't think there was so much active interest in green hydrogen. And I think now, wherever you look here, I think it's a trending topic to talk about and work on.
So for me, the shock is when I was nominated by Startup India in India's REVY, and we won that challenge also for hydrogen. Okay, so but in that platforms also, when we are talking about green hydrogen, we still talking about the hydrogen produced by using solar or wind as green hydrogen. We are not talking about biohydrogen, even at international levels. And that's where I'm like, I don't know, I can't tell you, Priya, that how passionate I am, and I'm working with Sangeeta ma'am and all the ecosystem, that hydrogen production is done by India long back. Why we are not doing those things? And I am really working with the hydrogen clusters which has been formed. on biohydrogen demonstrations.
No,
Yes.
that's great. I think it also indicates that, I mean, I think it's just a very nice lesson to show that if you believe in something, and it's possible that a lot of people around you don't, but you really believe that this is going to be the next big thing. And if you stick at it, you know, and you're not believing in it blindly or randomly, you have your reasons for doing it. You come with a scientific understanding of why this is going to be the next big thing. I think it's worth having that kind of conviction in something and pursuing it, because
and that's where I think as scientists, you have to have that part sightedness.
Yes.
Because you know that this is required, but maybe the market is not ready for that.
Yeah.
And that's where we say that some innovation happens before time and they never see the market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I have to rethink onto the basis the market is evolving for the hydrogen. It's not the same thing, but I know the metabolism, I know the microorganisms involved. And yesterday also I was talking to somebody that why this Cytex people has come up because they are working a lot with bacillus. And my first train for hydrogen production was a bacillus. So that's how you know there are a lot of synergies.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one more example of foresight here is the patents that you have filed. I think a lot of, it's not, I just want the audience to know that it is fairly expensive and it's a lot of work to file and maintain patents which are global. And a lot of startups or a lot of individuals who are innovators file patents, and they file patents within India just because they think that that's realistically what they can do at that stage. But then if you really want to realize the true commercial potential of your product and you believe that it has global potential, it is important that you look at your product also globally and look at protecting rights for your product globally. And could you talk a little bit about, you know, what does it take to file so many global patents and maintain these patents?
It's a lot of work, and still we could not able to cover a whole of the geography, but you need to study a lot about the market because like Priya has mentioned, as a scientist, we file a patent, we never thought of commercializing that patent. So we file it in India, and then that's it. But when we are commercializing a patent, then we need to understand the market and how we will be reaching to those markets. That needs to be figured out. Apart from that, filing itself is a challenge. There are a lot of questions which has to be redefined. There has to be some experiments which has to be done. So you have to get going with all that things. So yeah, it's very important to protect your innovations in a form, because as researchers, we are always in a hurry, and I will say I am one of the researchers who has not published papers at all. So that is a drawback of me as a scientist. But sometimes I feel this has given me an edge on marketing side, because a lot of things when I was working in the industry also, because they don't want to publicize those results, when I had a lot of knowledge in that way, say. So yeah, patents are very important to commercialize your science, your innovations. But if you have done the publications, then it becomes very difficult to really.
Yeah, I was just going to say again for the audience here, if you publish something, chances are that you will not be able to patent it. So I think, you know, a lot of innovators truly believe that publication, I mean, in the sense, there's nothing wrong in publishing your data, but you have to make a call at some point of time whether at some point, do you see commercial potential in what you want to do, in which case patents may be the better way to go than, you know, actually publishing your results. Publishing has its own value. It benefits a much larger community and all of that. But then if you're truly looking to build a business or a startup or a company around what you want to do, chances are that you want to hold some rights to, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. And, you know, tell us a little bit about where you're based currently. You mentioned Gujarat, but then I know where you're based, but if you can tell the audience where you're based.
I'm based in Baroda, and it's a tier 2 city.
Yes.
And I'm not connected with any of the IIT. I have done my PhD from Devi Ahilya. I am a CSIR fellow, worked in a CSIR lab, But from that ecosystem also, I saw that this can be done. And that's an example. People generally in our ecosystem, I'm listening to that the startup is very easy for an IIM or IIT guy, but it is not the case. It's just your own belief, and you have to really figure out the resources. There are a lot of resources now. I think bio incubators has reached to every city now. It's not only in Vadodara. And there is one more question by Dr. Reshma. Do we have any prototype for use at present? She means our cultures prototype. Yeah, so the cultures are commercially available right now. So since I am giving only the software, and that's where Priya remembers that I use this analogy of software and the hardware, that you have a laptop, but you need a Windows operating system to work. And similarly, these anaerobic reactors are there. They can be a CSTR, plug flow, USB, anything, but that needs these inoculums to be put in. So we supply these inoculums to these reactors. So yes, we have working prototypes right now. So we call it as a customer base. So there are customers who have using our cultures. Some has done the commissioning with our cultures, some have done the recommissioning with our cultures and our products. Yes, we have that. So it's not a physical prototype because these are more cultures.
Yeah. So my last question before I open the floor for questions is, you mentioned that you have co-founded your startup with your husband. So does your husband, or do you come from a family of businessmen or businesswomen, and did that give you any courage to start your startup, or is this a first for both of you?
This is first for both of us. I come from a business family wherein I mentioned that we had a Almira business. So we had my father and grandfather. My father was on the job, but my grandfather has this business, and my uncles have that business of manufacturing furniture, the steel furniture. So still we are into that business as family at that side. And my brother is also working as an entrepreneur. So I do have that business part of say, but Rajneesh is totally from the family which is working as a government officer. He's from Bihar, so all of them are IAS, IPS, and all that stuff. So no as such scientific entrepreneur, but he was working into the health sector. So when he also resigned, and both of us resigned and started this particular venture at a junction where our kids are just going into the higher education. So it was very tough decision, but the most important portion of this journey was my son, my elder son, who was in class 8th and started understanding hydrogen. He's doing his automobile engineering right now. He's doing his MS. So he was very much into automobiles. So he understood that Tesla is doing hydrogen cars. So he understood that, Mama, you are producing hydrogen and you are sitting just in the home and doing nothing. So he motivated Papa to start the lab. And that's how Rajneesh told, okay, whatever is happening, we are doing this. We will be doing this. We will not be having a regret and late in the life that we have not done it. So that's how the passion was of the family. My son is still waiting that, Mama, we will be making an engine and you will be producing hydrogen. So that is there.
Absolutely. Yes.
So
yes,
that's
there. Foresight will result in rewards. I'm sure.
Yeah, that's there. So we both of us started, and we say REVY as third baby.
Yeah.
It's our third baby, and both of my sibling has accepted it as a brother, or whatever you can call it, as a REVY. Yeah. So that's how the REVY is there. So REVY has just that's what we have called when we have inaugurated our R&D center. It has been moved from incubator to schooling. It does not reach the college. So we are working
on there.
Our baby too at that point. Yeah.
So that's great. We have a question from Rinku Naik. Rinku, I request if you can unmute yourself, switch your camera on, and ask your question. And please introduce yourself.
Is there any other question? The question which is there from the Rinku is that there are biohydrogen can be produced by algal route also, by cyanobacteria and other route. But the problem is that there are the cost of production and maintaining those cultures are still on the way of research. I will say all these technologies are at TRL3 only. Nothing has actually worked on the field. So the high amount of hydrogen can be produced by the photo route, but not by the dark fermentation route. But I am trying to combine both the routes in a biphasic manner. So that's where, if you are talking about biohydrogen route. And how is IPR important? We already have discussed that if we really want to, like, at this point of time, I am trying to figure out that how I can scale up, because I got orders or inquiries across globe, because there are biogas plants. The maximum biogas plants is in Germany. And last year, when I was working with the hydrogen with Newcastle, I visited a lot of plants there, and I found that there also they need these kind of services. So across globe we need, and if we don't have these patents, we cannot even license or do a tech transfer. I don't know. I am still figuring it out that to scale up, we have to license or we have to do tech transfer, and we're in Venture Center, BioRack, and all other people are trying to help us. And now the bigger giants in this domains are talking to us. So it takes some time to prove yourself with the customers. You have to have some paying customers. Then only these people believe and comes to you. And that's where the technology readiness number is very, very important, where these ecosystems are helping us. Technology 3 to technology 6 is really a very different journey, I will say, because TRL3, most of the academic people or most of us as a patent, when we file a patent, we reach technology readiness 3 or 4. But after that, 3 to 7, that market fit is very, very important.
Just to add to what Vanita was saying, the question also was about how IPR is useful for R&D. I think IPR, you actually, as I said, invest a lot in generating that IP. IP, as Vanita said, can be monetized.
Yeah, and not only the patents, not only the patents, but the trademarks and the copyrights.
Absolutely, anything that
everything is very important.
Rights over. So I think it's important for you to know that even if you're doing R&D and you don't have any intentions of, creating a startup or going further, it's fine. If you have ownership of your IP, chances are that you will be able to monetize on that IP even as a scientist. So that is one big, big advantage that IP brings to, whatever you do.
And when you are thinking on that way, do consider your science and choose those. I will say even the chemical, the small chemical which you're trying to use in such a way that it can really able to commercialize, because from where it is coming, and that's the difference I had when Priya was asking. Now I see the vendor from where I am getting that product, because if I have to scale up, I have to get it in quantum, correct? So all those mindset, when you are doing research, if you keep in mind, it will be very, very helpful.
Yeah. We have a question from Nitin, whether from unused and food prepared or remaining unused can be used for hydrogen generation or for biogas only.
Both. We can use both. We have demonstrated both at TRL. Yeah. Both.
And do you need segregated waste for that?
Yeah, segregated waste is very, very important. The segregation has no other thing, because segregation is required for everything, even plastics or everything. Segregation at source is very, very important. There is no other way if we do the segregation, and that's where every citizen has this responsibility of segregating. We have to be responsible for our waste, then only the disposal, because we have to change this mindset of waste. These are not waste. This is something which we are not using. That we have to change that mindset. It's not waste, it's a resource. Whatever, the discarded plastic, discarded organics, discarded metal, everything is a resource which can be utilized. Correct?
Yeah. We also have a question from Aishwarya. How important is the location of a startup for waste management?
You mean
as in geographically where you are located?
Yeah, it's always important to be the sector is, but waste management is a issue of a very small community. It's a problem of a village. So you need not to think on to the location side, but yeah, you have to think on, like, when I am trying to expand, I have to see how I can distribute my products. So if I have been having only one plant, like there are Satat people who are doing one plant and producing biogas there and then only. And when you are thinking and an entrepreneur like this, that you will be processing some kind of waste by setting up a plant, it should be near to the waste production site. It should be near raw material, and that's the law which we have read in our geography book in class 5th, 6th, I don't remember, where people tell us the economics of starting business. So it has to be near the raw materials. So like paddy straw based plants are coming up in Punjab, correct? So, but ours is basically the microbial consortia, it can be anywhere. But we need to figure out that if we wanted to supply it in the north of India, then there should be one plant in north, one plant in south, and like that. Yeah.
Hi, ma'am, this is Aishwarya, the person who actually asked the question.
Yeah.
So you basically meant to say that it all depends on your like where the raw material is from, and
Yeah.
then it's like it is mostly on that. Like
Yeah.
that should be your
If you
main
are,
criteria.
yeah, if you are setting up a biogas plant or a waste treatment facility, it should be near the waste generation site.
So basically a place where you see the potential for that thing to work or something like that.
Correct, correct. Because biogas can be utilized everywhere.
Yes.
But procuring the feed material and putting it, and that's the biggest challenge still the sector is facing. Apart from the cultures which we are working, the getting that raw material on site is another challenge. So to overcome that challenge, you have to really see your waste material, and that's how people are now working on to Napier grass for biogas. People are working on to the Napier grass. They are growing their own grass to fed to these biogas plants. But that I don't feel like a very good aspect. There are so many waste material available in India.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Please raise your hand. You can unmute yourself and ask your question if you have a question.
So to everybody's knowledge, hydrogen is part of any organic matter. We know, we are studying it from start. So hydrogen is there. We just have to take it out in this way. That's what we need to do. So all organic waste, think of, can be converted to hydrogen, but you have to figure out the exact microorganisms, the exact conditions and all that. And that's where a lot of groups are working on biohydrogen.
Any more questions? There is one in the chat box.
I have a carrot.
This question is
You are asking to an environment biotechnologist to choose to be an environment person from a, I will say, means like I mentioned, my husband is from healthcare. So we choose to be an environmentalist because I believe we can have all gadgets. And sometimes before starting my pitch, I say, just imagine, just close your eyes and imagine that you will not be getting a water for next 2 days. You have all the gadgets. You have best and best of technologies, you 5G, every G with you, but you are not getting water. Is it possible to do anything? So that's important. That's the importance of water, or the climate change which is happening. If this climate change will go on, we will be not having the planet. So environment, biotechnology, or environment is the utmost important thing at this point of time. Yeah, so anybody who has interest in this field should continue on this, figure out the ways in which they can contribute to the society. There are many things needs to be done. So although in India, environment biotechnology has not picked up that way, but internationally, there are a lot of people working on in biotechnology.
Especially also in environmental
Yeah.
technology. So as Vanita mentioned, a lot of technologies we use today are imported technologies.
Yeah.
And I think, I think we have enough skill and enough capabilities to develop technologies of our own. And with startups like REVY, and there weren't honestly very many doing this kind of work. And it's really nice to see startups like this, which are getting into this space, because this is not an easy space to work in, because a lot of factors are not under your control. And I think to be able to get into
BT will be the next era for green chemistry also. Like when I am trying to work on to the green side, even the industrial productions which are happening, I am talking to these dyes people. There are people who have developed a technology where they will not be using any water for dyeing. So there are a lot of things are required from the technology perspective, not only from the bio side, but the technology side. But still we need those, I will say, enzymes also to function instead of chemicals. Yeah.
All right, if there are no more questions, I would like to formally thank Dr. Vanita Prasad for her time and also a very inspiring talk to our audience today. Thank you very much. As I said, it's always a pleasure to hear about your work. We don't get to hear about this kind of work very often in this space. So thank you very much. And we have a feedback link, how we conduct these events, and your feedback on that is very important for us to improve, get better, and do a good job in terms of conducting these events in future. So please do fill the feedback form. And once again, thank you very much to all of you for taking the time to be here. And thanks, Vanita.
Thank you, Priya. And Wrinkle, she was following me throughout. I was in China. I told her for last 15 days.
Do you mean Ritika?
Ritika, yeah, sorry.
Yes, Ritika, yes.
She was following me, and once I came back, I really skipped that. I have to give you the presentation. I'm really thankful to her for giving me this opportunity. And it is always, and I'm really happy that I could able to talk to you. And Priya is, I think, has been a very good support system when I was really trying to figure out the business out of the products which we have created. And at that point of time, Priya was there, and I had a lot of discussion with her for pitching to the customers. So we have improved our pitch with her. So that's how the journey is. And I believe that it's a very small word. We always bump into each other.
Yes. I think it's important that it's small, but it's a supportive world, and that we are all able to help and contribute to each other's successes, each other's journeys as women. And my team just reminded me that we need to take a group picture. So if you can all switch on your cameras for a few
I will be also happy to see that who all are listening to.
Yes. So if you can all switch on your cameras.
This is the only drawback we have in virtual, that we don't know to whom we are talking.
Yes.
Yeah, so anybody feels asking anything at any point of time can contact.
Yes, we'll be happy to share your email ID in case anybody wants to reach out. We will through us.
We have very few women founders around.
Yes,
and we really have to help each other, and that's where these ecosystems are working. I think most importantly, this connects are working very good.
Yeah,
I would like to congratulate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Both of you, as taking first initiative, being women, giving the hand-holding support. Yes, I am here, and to hear the echo of every woman, basically those who want to do work. So thank you.
And one more thing, Arpana ma'am, I wanted to say that in REVY, we have this flexible working hours for the women, because I understand that is very, very important. So in my team, I'm trying to provide that platform also to these young girls who are just trying to balance out the work-life balance, because the career starts at that point of time, and we have to have our own other responsibilities. So
Yes.
flexible work hours and the technology now we have can give a lot of opportunities for the girls to work.
Yes, 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 definitely. That exposure and platform, that is incredible, just incredible. That's for would like to introduce little about me. Myself, designer Mrs. Aparna Amol Bakshi, super specialist in Paithani. I have done my MSc in fashion designing with
Wow.
research subject, that is a Paithani weaving kurtis and accessories. All documents are registered on my name in the university. For this unique research, I have scholarship from Symbiosis International as a unique researcher and woman entrepreneur for MBA in 2012. Afterwards, I never seen back. Day by day, every day in every way, I am trying to give my best. That's for Skill India, Silk Mark, as well as Textile India. They are saying my work is value added for them. That's for we are not only just brand nominee participant, but we are winner in quality and customer satisfaction in 5000 MSME in 2018 before COVID. But this is the time to bounce back, and
Yes,
the really opportunity platform to me. Thank you to everyone.
And
Definitely.
keep on doing whatever you are doing. It's very much important to do that.
Yes, thank you. But
And
money
fashion world
matters.
is totally changing. Fashion world is totally and becoming sustainable and sustainable.
Yes,
It's most
yes, yes.
polluting. I can say it's most polluting industry.
Yeah.
But a lot of innovation is required on that side. Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely. And really, I am thankful today I connect to pure and good souls. That is a God's grace, basically. And really feeling blessed, basically.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And definitely, I will be in touch with both of you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you very
Thank you.
much. I think we have a picture. So thank you,
Yeah.
Vanita. Thank you to all of you for attending today, and have a good evening.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.